Joining us, we have attorney at Law Robin Montano, a man who is no stranger to the Observer. Special good evening to you, sir.
And good evening to you too, Mikey, and good evening to your viewers.
Robin, the state has appealed the Brent Thomas matter. And of course, that name is now a household name. That means that there are certain perimeters which we will have to be guided by as far as our discussion. But that doesn't take away from the facts of the matter. So please expand and share with us.
Okay, well, first of all, I've had a lot of comments about, the matter is now sub judice and therefore it can't be discussed. Well, that's not exactly true. The sub judice rule was really introduced more for criminal matters in which a jury might be influenced by commentary that can be made in public. The fact of the matter is that the trial is now over and the matter is now going before judges who are supposed not to be influenced by what is going on in the public. But even so, assuming though not accepting for one moment that the sub judice rule does somehow apply in this matter, the sub judice rule does not apply to facts. So let's look at the facts in this Brent Thomas affair. Fact one, Brent Thomas was arrested in Barbados at the request of somebody obviously in Trinidad. Fact two, when he was arrested, there was no warrant in Trinidad or in Barbados for his arrest. Fact three, he was brought back to Trinidad on a plane that belongs to the Regional Security Service. The Regional Security Service is an organization. I think Trinidad is not a member of this organization, but I think it is Barbados, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada. But you cannot, there is no way that the RSS would have lent a plane for any exercise, whether legal or not legal, unless the request had come from somebody high up in the political directorate. Fact 3 or 4, I've now lost count. The Prime Minister said the first time he knew of it was when he read about it in the newspapers. Fact 4 or 5, the Prime Minister is head of the National Security Service. Now, the Prime Minister gets reports that even the security reports that even the Minister of National Security doesn't see.
All right. Is he briefed on a daily basis, Mr. Montano, or weekly, or?
He's briefed on a daily basis.
Okay.
So this would mean that either the Prime Minister is lying about it, or he genuinely didn't read about this, which would mean that either he's incompetent because he doesn't read his papers, or both. I mean, take a choice. It has to mean one of these things. Either we have a Prime Minister who doesn't tell the truth, or he's incompetent, or he's both. I can't say which one it is, but what I can say is, and I can say this, regardless, that somewhere along the line, somebody has not told the truth. Now, what is going on? Then the Prime Minister announces, apropos out of the blue, that he's going to Barbados for a weekend, a long weekend. But hello, the other person who is involved in this is the Prime Minister of Barbados. Now, she has said nothing about this. Why hasn't she said anything about this? That is cause for speculation.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is reasonable to ask, did this trip to Barbados come up because of this Brent Thomas affair, and he's gone to get his story straight with Mia Mottley, or is he telling the truth and that this has been planned for some time and he's gone to play golf? Well, I have no doubt that he will be going to play golf, but forgive me if I tell you that I do have serious doubts as to other things. So I think that the important thing is that we look at what has happened now. I regard what has happened here as being exceedingly serious, because regardless of whether you think that Brent Thomas has somehow broken the law or not, the state must be like Caesar's wife, cleaner than clean and whiter than white. The state cannot be seen to be breaking or bending its own rules.
Yeah, I mean, the facts have been laid out. You've laid out the facts to us. And as far as, making that trip to Barbados at a time where crime is in the spotlight, and many of us as citizens feel as though we're under siege with this whole, the criminal elements here in Trinidad and Tobago, the timing is definitely off. Then,
well,
and again, when you start to connect the dots, and again, we have to be guided accordingly because it has been appealed. But when you start to connect the dots, is this something that citizens need to take a look at, sit up and say, listen, we need to start questioning several things here if we need to get to the truth?
Well, exactly. And what we need to know is, for example, does this appeal really have any grounds to be able to get be successful? And how much is this going to cost us, the taxpayers? We have already seen in the newspapers, I think it was today, it might have been yesterday, that we've paid out since 2015 more than $1 billion to lawyers for the cases that they have been fighting on behalf of the state.
That's right. Between 2015.
Unfortunately, I have to say that I am not one of those. I'm not included in those briefs. But it's really, we are in a serious. This Brent Thomas affair is more serious than people realize or understand, because it is one step removed from dictatorship. And it would mean that none of us, nobody listening tonight, and not even the people who are not listening tonight, we are not safe, because it would mean that somebody somewhere along the line can decide to just get up and, I don't like John Thomas, so I'm going to arrest him and keep him in a cage for 14 hours or whatever it was, and I'm not going to allow him access to any lawyer or anything, and I'm going to pick him up in a foreign country. I'm going to use my connections with that foreign country to arrest him and hold him and bring him back on a foreign aircraft. Who arranged for this? And of course the police now say, they're investigating. What investigation is being carried out, for crying out loud? We've started an inquiry. Really? You need an inquiry? How long do you need this inquiry for?
Yeah, I mean, there's a process, and Mr. Thomas was met at the airport in Barbados by senior officers of the TTPS.
Who sent them? On whose order? I mean, we haven't been told. We haven't been told. And on what basis is Mr. Thomas a crook? I don't know. Certainly, I hold no brief for him. But is he a crook? Let me put it to you this way: if you're being charged with something like this, it would mean that there is some sort of evidence that suggests that you're a crook. But according to the newspapers, no such evidence has been presented as yet. So I feel comfortable in saying that I do not believe that Mr. Thomas is a crook. I'm not putting my head on a block for him. He may very well be a crook, and there may be evidence. Now, if this evidence may be very, very sensitive, in which case you can present the evidence. There are rules and procedures where you can go in camera, that is to say with no observers at all, before a judge who is a neutral and experienced third party who is charged with hearing the evidence and the reason why we have dealt with Mr. Thomas this way and why we believe he's a crook. But I'm hearing all kinds of rumors, vague allegations about Mr. Thomas that are not. There is no evidence against him whatsoever, and yet, fact, he was arrested in Barbados.
Yeah.
Fact, there was no warrant either in Barbados or in Trinidad for his arrest. Fact, he was brought back from Barbados without any extradition order or application being made. Fact, the Barbados authorities did not do what they're supposed to do. Fact, the Trinidad authorities did not do what they're supposed to do. Fact, the Commissioner of Police is not saying boo. All she's doing is she's saying, oh, well, we are mounting an inquiry. Fact, what do you have to mount with these facts? I mean, it's just like, you know, I was watching the program just now before I came on with this chap, Mr. Martin Lunkin. And he was making some very good points about the education and the children and the crime and so on. But fact, we have not, our education system has not been overhauled since about 1960 or thereabouts. It's been tinkered with, but it hasn't been overhauled. Fact, our teachers are woefully underpaid. Fact, if the teachers are woefully underpaid, if you pay peanuts, what do you expect to get?
And I think, Robin, we could also say the same for the TTPS. I mean, if the officers are not well paid for putting their lives on the line, then is that not some encouragement for many of them to go rogue?
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. But you see, the other thing about the Brent Thomas affair is that what if, now here we move into the realm of speculation.
All right.
What if this Brent Thomas affair, what if the Prime Minister is indeed telling the truth and that there is no security report concerning this matter whatsoever? And because Dr. Rowley is telling the absolute truth, you realize that means that there could be a coup tomorrow morning, and the security services upon whom we depend to keep the head of the national security apparatus, that is to say the Prime Minister, informed, has not told him that John and Jane and Sally and Peter and whoever are planning a coup.
Yeah, and that's a very scary factor. Robin, we've come to the end of our time. I want to thank you so much for weighing in on this issue. You've really enlightened us. The facts are laid out there. Where do we go from here? Why is an inquiry needed when in fact there's a process? And if that process was not followed, well then it's quite clear that the law was broken. But we wait and see. Closing comments quickly.
Well, my closing comments are that we are playing the fool. We are playing the fool. We are allowing, and the press is not performing its function. A newspaper it's vital that it keeps issues like this before the general public. This is far too serious now for partisan politics, and this is far too serious for well, I am UNC or I am PNM or I am ABC or FDATT. No, this is really serious now.
Yeah.
And it's time that we have been playing games so far. With both sides have been playing games, and it's time that both sides stop. Really, right now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Montano. Keep up the good work, and we'll be checking in with you periodically on this issue and other issues as well.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.